So to work with various types of data, to make a custom type, we need to actually create a class. And a class is called the blueprint of an object. And here, we're actually initializing our object. And this variable is called an instance, an object instance. And these variables are called the class or object properties or fields. And when we assign data like this, then it becomes an object. Without data, it's only an object instance, not an object. So in our case, it's both an object instance and an object, as it already has data assigned. But if we have a class without pre-assigned data, so let's create another class and name it employee class. So if we don't assign data inside our class, rather we want to assign data from outside the class, then we have to declare one constructor. And for that, we have to define the init method. So def underscore underscore init underscore underscore and opening and closing parenthesis colon, press enter. And here we will actually declare all our class properties or class field, whatever we say. And we have to use the self keyword to declare all the class fields. And to get access of the self keyword, we have to actually pass the self keyword inside our init method self, and then self dot whatever we name here, that will be our class field name. So id, and then self dot name, self dot age, and for our employee we want one field named salary, self dot salary. And now let's go outside of our class, and here let's create an object instance of our class. So employee equal to employee, and execute the program. And we're getting one error. It's saying employee object has no attribute id. And to get rid of this error, we have to assign, actually we can say we have to give an option to assign data to this field. So we can accept another parameter here, name it id, and assign it here id. In the same way, name, age, and salary. Name, age, and salary. Not necessarily this field name and this parameter name should be same. We can name anything here. Let's name it N, A, and S. So N, A, S. This one is I and I. And now if we want to initialize our class object, then we will get another error. Let's try that first. And we're getting an error. It's saying missing 4 required positional arguments. To get rid of this error, we have to assign some default data. We can say none, okay, not colon, equal to none, and here none. And this time we are not getting any error. And now our class field has no data. So it's no more an object, it's simply an object instance. And now we can assign data from outside of our class. Employee dot id equal to 101. Shoot it and print it. Awesome. It's working perfectly. And if we want, then we can get rid of this default data and pass data while creating an object. We can say 101, then cash, then age and salary. Execute it, and now we don't need to assign any data. We already have data and we can directly print it. So let's delete this cell and directly print it. Great, we can see it's working perfectly. Now at this point, let's declare a method inside our class. Def, and let's name our method getEmployeeInfo. And inside the method block, let's get all the employee info and return it. So we can say return id concatenate with empty string, then concatenate name and salary. And we can see one yellow squiggly here. Let's hover over it. And we can see it's saying salary is not defined. Actually, when we define any property inside init method, or we can say inside class constructor, then we have to define using the self keyword. In the same way, when we want to get access to the class properties, which is declared inside the class constructor using the self keyword, or inside some other method using the self keyword, then to get access of this property, we have to use self keyword again. So let's pass self keyword here inside method param and use self.id, self.name, self.age and self.salary, and our warning is gone. Now let's execute this code again. This time let's try to get the employee name first. Great, working perfectly. And now let's get the employee info and assign in a variable. So I'm saying result equal to employee dot employee info, and opening and closing parentheses as we do for function or method calling, and execute it. We'll get an error, but that doesn't matter. Let's execute it, get the error, read it and solve it. And we're getting an error. It's saying unsupported operands types for plus, int and string. So we have to actually typecast it. You can say string. What we are doing, we are converting every kind of data into a string, because we're trying to concatenate our data, and we can concatenate our string data only. That's why I'm converting every data into a string, concatenating it and returning it. Execute the program first. And we don't need to execute this program. We can just directly execute it here and then print the result variable. Awesome. Everything is working perfectly. Hope you guys have understand everything regarding class, object, object properties or class field, whatever we say, class constructor, and methods. Now let's learn about inheritance and polymorphism in our next lecture.